Hello learners, today's lesson is about phonology and morphology. So, the objectives of this lesson are to study the English language from a structural point of view and also to analyze the characteristics of the structure of the language. Language operates with two components. One is the sound and the other is the idea or the meaning. These are labeled as expression or articulation and content or ideas. Today our topic of study is concerned with sound. Sound as the medium by which information is conveyed. The sounds used in English are grouped into consonants and vowels. These are organized into syllables in a quite definite and systematic way. The most basic elements in the articulatory system are the phonemes. In any language, there are a definite and usually small number of phonemes. In English, there are 44 of them. The second basic unit in the sound system is the morpheme. It is the unit of articulation of language which enters into relationship with the content or the ideas side. A morpheme is typically composed of one to several phonemes. As you listen to an unfamiliar language, you get the impression of a torrent of disorganized noises carrying no sense whatsoever. To the native speaker, however, of that language, it is quite otherwise. He pays no attention to the sounds, but concerns himself with some situation or context that lie beneath those sounds. The sounds which are unintelligible to you carry a whole lot of meaning for the native speaker. Therefore, we find that any language is a mere jumble of sounds to some, but to the other it carries a message. Let us examine it more scientifically now. Language operates with two components. One of these is sound, the other is idea or meaning. These are labeled as expression and content. Today our topic of study is concerned with expression or articulation. We are now concerned with the sound as the medium by which information is conveyed. It is in fact an organized system or structure. The linguist analyzes speech as an orderly sequence of specific kinds of sounds and of sequences of sounds. It is orderly in terms of a very complex set of patterns which recur repeatedly. These patterns form the structure of expression or articulation. Now, the structure in the expression or articulation part of the language is that the sounds of English are grouped into consonants and vowels. These are organized into syllables in a definite and systematic way. Each syllable must have one and only one vowel sound. It may have one or more consonants before and or after the vowel. The most basic elements in the articulation system are the phonemes. These are the sound features which are common to all speakers of a given speech form and are reproduced exactly the same in repetition. In any language, there are a definite and usually small number of phonemes. In English, there are 44 4. The second basic unit in the expression system is the morpheme. It is the unit on the expression side of language which enters into relationship with the content side. A morpheme is typically composed of one to several phonemes. In English, there is no one-to-one relationship between the letters of the alphabet and the sounds they represent. The 26 letters represent 44 sounds. In the word re-entered, E has 4 pronunciations including a silent one. The letters O, U, G, H can be pronounced in 8 different ways, as in bow, bot, cuff, dough, hiccup, rough, thorough and through. Therefore, the first step in studying any spoken language is to determine the phonemes. Phoneme is the smallest unit in the sound system of a language, functioning to distinguish one morpheme from another. Phonemes are the distinctive sounds of a language. Phonemes are enclosed with the symbols slanted slashes, so that they are not confused with the letters of the alphabets. Therefore, P is a letter of the alphabet, whereas P, as represented between 2 slant slashes, is a phoneme. For example, Ka consists of the phonemes K and A, and Ta consists of phonemes T and A. Pak consists of the phonemes P, A and K. We may define a phoneme as a minimum unit of articulation of a spoken language by which one thing that may be said is distinguished from any other thing which might have been said. The contrasting phonemes T and P distinguish the words tin and pin. Thus, if two utterances are different, it must be because there is a difference in the articulation. The difference may be small or extensive. The smallest difference is a difference of a single phoneme. If we take bill and pill as samples, the two must differ in at least one significant feature of articulation, that is, in at least one phoneme, bill and pill. Thus, the phoneme is the minimum feature of the expression system of a spoken language, as we mentioned earlier. We find that bill and pill differ only in one phoneme, b and p. They are therefore a minimal pair. Some other examples of minimal pair are tab, tap, but, put, cat, rat, pair, chair, met, net. Phonemes are part of the system of one specific language. The phonemes of different languages are different. It is for this reason that a foreigner hears only a jumble which he cannot repeat. The sounds of the unfamiliar language do not fit into his phonetic system, and so he cannot comprehend any order in a simple utterance. There are 24 phonemes in the English language corresponding to the consonant sounds and 20 phonemes in the English language corresponding to the vowel sounds, which include the diphthongs. A morpheme may be defined as the smallest unit of a language that is grammatically acceptable. It is the smallest lexical unit of a language as a word, root, affix or inflectional units. Linguist Hockett defines morphemes as the minimal grammatical units. This is a sort of circular definition which is not clear. So, here we will try to give some characteristics of a phoneme. The simplest words of English are just phonemes in the sense that they consist of single morphemes. Other words consist of two or more morphemes. A morpheme is not identical with a syllable. The morpheme strange happens to be a syllable, and so are many English morphemes. But Connecticut is a single morpheme, though it contains 4 syllables. Goes is made of 2 morphemes, go and z, though together they are a single syllable. Morphemes may consist of one or several syllables, part syllables, or any combination of phonemes without regard to their status as syllables. A morpheme may consist of a single phoneme, example z, but the phoneme z and the z in goes are by no means identical. This phoneme occurs in many places like zoo or rose. Both use z, but have no meaning in common with goes. Most English morphemes are intermediate in size between z and strange and consist of 2 to 6 phonemes. Frequently, 2 morphemic elements are alike in expression, but different in content. Such pairs are called homophonous, literally sounding alike. Thus, z is a morpheme both in goes and goers, but not the same morpheme. Z meaning third person singular actor and z meaning plural as homophonous. Sequence of morphemes can also be homophonous, either with other sequences or with other morphemes. Compare rose in he rows a boat. They stood in rows. That flower is a rose. Like the phonemes, the morphemes too enter into combinations in accordance with definite patterns. Morphemes are generally short sequences of phonemes. These sequences are recurrent, but not all sequences are morphemes. Certain constructions composed of morphemes have a rigidly fixed order. For example, reconvene is a familiar English word. The morphemes are re, con, wean. If we change the order of morphemes, wean, re, con or con, re, wean, they become unfamiliar in sound and appearance, as also they become meaningless. Therefore, the meaning of a word depends not only upon the morphemes that are present, but also on the order of their occurrence. Some morphemes can be usefully described as the smallest meaningful units in the structure of the language. By smallest meaningful unit, we mean a unit which cannot be divided without destroying or drastically altering the meaning. For example, strange is a morpheme. As a whole, it has meaning. If it is divided, we get fragments such as str and anch, which have no meaning. Even strain or stray has meanings that are not related to strange. Therefore, strange qualifies as a morpheme as satisfying the description as the smallest unit of meaning in the structure of the language. However, strangeness is not a single morpheme, though it does have a meaning. It may be divided into strange and ness. Each of these pieces has meaning, and the meaning of the combination is related to the meaning of two morphemes. If the morpheme is to be described as the smallest meaningful unit in the structure of language, care must be taken not to misconstrue the words meaning or meaningful. Using the term meaning in its ordinary sense can be misleading. For example, go refers to motion of an object. Now compare he goes home, John goes with Mary, and the watch goes. It may be used for quite immobile subject, as in this road goes to Weston. With some morphemes, meaning as we normally understand is wholly lacking. Consider to in I want to go. The elements I, want and go denote aspects of human experience, but it is impossible to find a meaning of to. Nevertheless, to has a function. Without that, I, want, go means nothing. To merely fulfills a requirement of English structure in that want cannot be followed by go without the intervening to. Every morpheme has a characteristic distribution. Cat may occur in I saw the dash, but not in I will dash home. Go can occur in the second, but not in the first sentence. A full understanding of any morpheme involves understanding its distribution as well as its meaning in the familiar sense. The distribution of a morpheme is the sum of all the contexts in which it can occur, in contrast to all those in which it cannot occur. Descriptive linguistics is the discipline which studies languages in terms of their internal structures. There are various approaches to language, or language can be approached from various viewpoints such as psychology, sociology and anthropology. Descriptive linguistics differs from other approaches to language in that it focuses its attention on different facets of human speech. Using the phonemes and the morphemes as their basic units, linguists have been able to build a comprehensive theory of expression side of language. This is known as descriptive linguistics. It is conventionally divided into two parts: phonology, which deals with the phonemes or sequences of phonemes, and morphology, which deals with the morphemes and their combinations. The morpheme differs fundamentally from the phoneme in that it has no relationship with the content. Phonemes have no meanings, morphemes have meanings. Phoneme is a unit of phonology, morpheme is a unit of grammar. Morphemes are in general longer than phonemes, because it is a requirement that a morpheme must be composed of one or more phonemes. Thus, singing has 5 phonemes, but only 2 morphemes: sing, ing. The broadest classes of morphemes are the roots, prefixes and suffixes. A stem is a morpheme to which a suffix can be added. From the stem friend, we get the words friendly, unfriendly, friends and friendship by adding affixes. Some stems contain more than one root, like blackbird. They are called a compound. The fixed order of morphemes in certain constructions and the degree of freedom in other constructions are basic to language. There are expressions of the syntactic structure, which is the real essence of speech. It is the business of the science of linguistics to describe these principles of arrangement in the most comprehensive and concise way. Such a description is the grammar of the language. The term grammar is generally used to define how a language should be used, but to a linguist, grammar has a different connotation. Grammar is a description of how a language actually is used. Therefore, in descriptive linguistics, grammar has 2 subdivisions: morphology and syntax. Technically then, morphology is the description of the more intimate combinations of morphemes, roughly what are familiarly called words. Syntax is the description of larger combinations of the units. Some linguists use the term morphology to cover both the subdivisions. A very important part of phonology is phonetics. This is concerned with the study of sounds usable in speech in terms of the mechanism of their production by the human vocal system. The phonetic classification of speech sounds is based on 3 variables: voiced or voiceless, based on the occurrence of vibration in the larynx; 2, the place or point of articulation in the mouth, and 3. the manner of articulation. The vast majority of the consonant sounds fall into 3 basic sound types: stops like p, b, t, fricatives like f, v, th, d, s, and affricates like ch and j. 3 minor groups are the lateral l, nasals m, n, and ng, and semivowels v, r, and y. The vowel phonetic symbols e, I, u, oo are pronounced as in sheep, ship, book, shoot. The vowels a, o are pronounced as in left, teacher, her, and do. A, a, o are pronounced as in hat, up, far, and on. The diphthongs ea and a are pronounced as in here and wait. Ua and oi or o are pronounced as in tourist, coin, and show. A, I, and o are pronounced as in hair, like, and mouth. The consonant symbols p, b, t, d, ch, j, k, g are pronounced as in p, boat, tree, dog, cheese, joke, coin, and go. And the sounds f, v, th, d, s, z, sh, j are pronounced as in the words free, video, thing, this, see, zoo, sheep, and television, j as in television. The sounds m, n, ng, h, l, r, w, and y are pronounced as in the words mouse, now, thing, hope, love, run, we, and you. Thank you, learners. I hope you enjoyed going through the description of language, and specifically the description of the sounds that are phonemes and meaning units that are morphemes in English. Hope to see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.